Hey there, how's it going? Hope your training's been going well. So first off, don't pay any attention to my mouth moving in the video and syncing with this audio. I'm doing a voiceover. The reason why I'm doing the voiceover is because I found out as I was getting ready to edit this video that I was having audio problems. I was completely unaware of it as I was recording, and the audio is just god awful. I don't know what the hell is going on, but I wasn't going to use the original video's audio. So I'm getting rid of all that, and I'm trying to salvage the video by doing a voiceover instead. So anyway, what I wanted to show you in this video is how I used shaping, free shaping, to solve a training problem that I ran into very early on in a new skill I'm trying to teach Nova. The new skill she's learning is directionals. And for those of you who don't know, directionals, it's just teaching the dog to go forward, backwards, left, right from a given position. Basically, putting on controls on their movement, right? You can tell them which direction to go. And when you first start teaching this, you start off by teaching the dog to go to a cone. Just go out to a cone in front of you and sit in front of the cone. And so that's where we're starting. And right away, in our very first session, I encountered a problem. And that problem is that she's indicating on the cone. Now, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for this. It's really not. It's not so much the indication. The problem is the way that she orients herself in front of the cone. And that's stemming from her indication training she's done in the past for scent detection and tracking and that sort of stuff. So basically, in her mind, she's like, okay, something's on the ground. I'm going to indicate on it and wait for Dad to reward me. Well, she's only half right, because what I need her to do is sit in front of the cone with her back to me, because it's important that she sits a certain way relative to me so that I can teach her left, right, forwards, backwards more efficiently, and it help her learn and makes my life a lot easier and all that sort of stuff. So the rest of this video is just a series of clips of how I got Nova to finally go to the cone and sit in front of it with her back to me, and how I did it through shaping. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing some clips now and just talk about them as they go along. All right, so the first thing I did is I put the cone up against the wall, and the reason for that is pretty simple. It blocks Nova from spinning all the way around the cone, right? It limits her range of motion, if you want to call it that, around the cone. So it helps her out a little bit, and that's one key principle or concept with using free shaping is to set the dog up for success in the beginning as much as you possibly can. Manipulate and control the environment as much as you can to get them to make the right decision. Because the thing is, with free shaping, you're not giving the dog any inputs. You're letting them figure it out for themselves. And in the beginning, it may take them a little while to kind of figure out what it is that will get them the reinforcements. So what you should notice here in these clips is that I don't reinforce Nova if she's sitting too crooked, or if she's looking at me, or if she lays down, right? I'm completely ignoring her if she does the incorrect thing. But when she sits in front of the cone with her back to me and is looking at the cone and not me, I throw the ball. Now, if I'm consistent with that and my timing's good, over time what will happen is she'll figure out that, oh, okay, not sitting to the left of the cone, not sitting to the right of the cone, not looking at Dad, none of that's going to get me my ball. The only thing that gets me my ball is if I sit in front of the cone with my back to Dad and stare at the cone. And that's the whole idea of free shaping, is you let the dog figure it out for themselves by simply reinforcing them when they do the behavior you want them to do. This clip here is a good example of that. You see Nova starts off to the right of the cone, looks at me, looks at the cone. She's looking for me for direction, but I'm not giving her any. I'm completely neutral to her. There, that looks pretty good from this angle, but from my angle, she's still a little bit crooked, but then you see her shift, and the moment she shifts, I threw her the ball. This here is our second session, I think, or technically third. So I'm starting to send her to the cone now. So I have a command. I'm giving her a command to go to the cone, and I reinforce her only if she sits square in front of the cone. Here, we're just building some distance. And doing the same thing. If you notice too, the cone is off the wall a little ways, but here, she didn't sit quite square enough for me, and she wasn't adjusting, so I recalled her back to me, and she should be past that anyways. It's probably the biggest reason why I recalled her back to me. There, she did it right. I threw the ball, And there's a reinforcement. Send her to the cone. Great. Reinforce her. And again, you can see she's pieced this together finally. But it all started off with small steps. Here I am pulling the cone off the wall a little bit more. And repeating, doing the same thing. And if you already noticed, she's not spinning around the cone now. She's sitting in front of the cone. Whereas if I had done this from the very beginning and didn't go through this process with her, she 100% would have swung around the cone. So now I'm changing up the context on her a little bit, having the cone in a different direction, in the middle of the floor, so she has all the room she wants to swing around. So even there, like, she thought about going around, it's not square. I call her back to me. I don't punish her, but I don't reinforce her either. I just withhold the reward, call her back to me, wait a little while, send her again. She does it properly, I reinforce her.